Live from the R&R studios in the good old friendly city, it's the Boys from the Wheel podcast.
What is going on, guys? Welcome into the R&R studios for another episode of the Boys from the Wheel podcast. I've got some boys in the studio with me today, which is awesome. Studio's full up, so it's awesome. Demuth, how are we feeling, brother man? Oh, hold on. Wait, stop. And okay.
Collaborate and listen.
I feel great. I'm tired as shit, but I feel great.
Hey, college football kicking off. It's been an exciting day. Guys, we went to Morgantown today. You two did well. Boys on the end here.
I can barely walk upstairs, but I'm good.
Yeah, the calves are burning.
I bet.
The forehead's burning a little bit, but it was worth it.
Hey, mission accomplished.
Yeah, Penn State 1-0. Let's go.
We are.
Penn State.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So big episode here today. Much anticipated guest. We've been busy. He's been busy on the recruiting trail. AL2 champion and longtime NAL coach, Coach Rez.
Coach.
How we doing, Coach? Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Oh, no, we lost Coach.
Coach. Coach.
Well, this episode is off to a hot start. Yeah.
All right, that first quarter of that West Virginia game was rough. Then a tornado came in.
A little technical difficulties. I'm not sure what's going on. We'll get it figured out. Okay, guys, talk about the Morgantown trip.
All right, yeah, it was. Well, we parked at the Burger King, pounded some beers. Well, John pounded some beers. I sipped on a couple.
It's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
And then it was a long trek.
It wasn't that long. It was maybe like, what, a mile?
Yeah, a little over a mile. But it was 112 degrees. But other than that,
When the hurricane.
Yeah.
Then a hurricane. There was chip bags flying everywhere. And stuff flying everywhere. It really was.
Coach, we got you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Welcome.
You missed your intro, so.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. Yeah, I don't know what happened. It's just the sound went away, and then I just got out and got back in. So good to go.
There you go. Welcome to the show. What's going on? I know we're doing some recruiting. We got some things going on. And then high school football with you as well. You got a lot of things going on.
Yeah, staying busy. You know me. I can't stop.
Yeah.
I got to keep it moving. So, yeah, recruiting's been going good. Just turned in another batch of contracts today. That'll hit transactions tomorrow. I think it was about 6 or 7 more contracts. Majority of them were returning players. But I can't really talk about them until they clear through the NAL. So they'll be clear tomorrow. But you should have a list of the guys that we currently have signed now that have hit public transactions on the NAL website. A lot of good players coming in, and a lot of returning faces, but a lot of new faces as well. You know, we wanted to try to make sure we were set for, being in the NAL.
I see a trend here.
Yeah.
A lot of bigs.
What you got?
A lot of bigs.
Yeah, well, you know how I am with our O-line and D-line, man. It's the skill players are good and all, and you got to have good ones. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, you got to have a good quarterback. But before all that, you got to win the game in the trenches. And we've been pretty successful. Last year, myself, the last few years have had some really good O-line and D-line, which has really helped, with the success that we've had. So having good O-line and D-line protect ours, get after theirs is most important for us. And that's why I wanted to make it an emphasis with us going into the NAL, so everyone knows, you better come loaded up front, or you're going to come to a dogfight every night, and you're going to be on the short end of the stick if you come with a bunch of skill players and not enough beef.
Yeah, that's definitely the name of the game. I mean, and then we get free agency kicking off tonight, correct, at 12:01?
Oh, midnight. We got phone call parties going tonight. Reaching out to guys. I got contracts on standby, getting ready to be sent out at 12:01. So a lot of cool stuff, man. It's a cool thing about being in the NAL with the free agency stuff, because right now the period is all current NAL players that were on teams last year that finished the season on their final rosters, on their locked rosters, are all restricted free agents. I think there's a couple guys out there that actually got released from their teams, so other teams can sign them. Because I'm the same way, really. If you don't want to come back, like I'm not going to hold on to you like that. So if you want to go elsewhere, it is what it is. But for the most part, all players become free agents tonight at midnight, September 1st. That's the rule in the NAL. It actually was October 1st, and at the league owners meeting, we all voted on moving that date up to September 1st, which I didn't really like too much. But my thing on that was, if we're gonna move it, then let's move it to August 1st. So let's
Yeah,
just
if
get
we're
it
gonna
out of the
keep
way.
doing, yeah,
Let's get rolling with it. So, but it worked out, and the reason why October 1st usually is, you want to have time to be able to talk to your guys. You do, all your teams do your exit interviews. We did a few. We kind of did a little bit different this year for us. The way we were leaving our team housing and whatnot, but that gives us a little window there to make sure that we want to evaluate our guys from the season, who exactly we want to come back. Because we had a really good roster, we did, but I also built the roster according to what we were in. So
yeah,
with the league that we were in, we could get away with a few things here and there that we can't get away with, in the league that we're in now. So, we had to reevaluate some guys and take a look at some things, and even, some of our philosophies and schemes of stuff changed just because of, going into the indoor game. A lot of teams, struggle in the beginning coming from arena style to the indoor game. Um, I refuse to be one of those guys. I've been around this game for a long time. I'm familiar with the indoor rules and the indoor style. I'm an air raid spread guy outside, so all that indoor rules is basically outside football indoors,
right.
8-on-8. Um, you still run, tackle, block, catch. The normal stuff. Stuff happens a lot faster, but it's a lot more run emphasis. In this game, you're still going to throw, you're still going to have some of your concepts that everyone's used to, but just things a little bit different. You got two guys running emotion. So with all the stuff that you try to do recruiting wise, you want to get some guys that have some experience in that rule set, because it is different. And you guys have noticed watching this game for a long time. You see the Jacksonville Sharks and San Antonio's, Carolina Cobras, even, they struggled a little bit, last year. Switching from arena style to indoor is not beneficial to arena style teams running the same arena style offense. And until those teams started making some changes, you saw some success from them. You even look back when the Arizona Rattlers switched from when they went from the AFL to the IFL. They lost some games early on, and then Coach Guy figured it out, got some players in there, made some recruiting changes, changed their scheme, and then they ended up winning the IFL Bowl. So
Yeah,
you can be successful if you're doing what you're supposed to do, but you can't be stubborn and just run, what you're used to. And I refuse to do that. And one of the things that helped with that overall, Coach Mott, Game On, our defensive coordinator, he played in the IFL, so he's familiar with the indoor rules. We're going to have one of the top defenses in the league, hands down. That's an automatic. With some of the guys we got coming back and some of our additions. And then on the offensive side, for those that don't know who Coach Sean Lyota is, they're going to find out very quickly. All you got to do is look him up, and you're going to look at his background and his coaching history and his resume and where he's from and what he's done. And he's a two-time Coach of the Year, two-time champion. He's had a plethora of MVP quarterbacks that he's coached. And so adding someone like him with his offensive mind to our style and our staff and what we're doing and what we're building there in Wheeling, that was a huge move for us to add him to our staff. And he's going to be our offensive coordinator, so he's an offensive guru and an indoor guru at that. So You know, I am only successful with the people I put around me, and that goes for players included, and coaches and staff. So, you know, I do everything I do everything literally, but I can't do it all by myself. I have to have people that are helping in all areas. You know, I might have a hand on everything, but I'm still, you know, have some people in place to help with certain things.
Yeah, you're still, ends all being all when it comes to certain stuff. Checks and balances at the end.
Yeah, and it's nice too. Just being in a head coach role, you know, you manage the guys, you make sure the guys are taken care of, manage the games in game. You know, I'm still going to be on the refs. You know, they know it. Nobody's safe, so I'm still going to be doing what I do. But I don't have to worry about the offense and defense. You know, we'll meet as a staff. You'll have our game plan for the week, and they'll implement it. And you know, we'll still run meetings and all that. I'm still going to be heavily involved. But I got two good coordinators that are, you know, going to handle each side of their ball.
Yeah, and you're not going to be tied up with calling plays, so the refs are not going to be safe at all. That's going to be worse.
Now, I told some of our guys too, some of our refs, I said, get prepared because that red flag's gonna be coming flying at one of y'all.
Yeah, challenges are coming. Challenges, big difference from last year to this year. Challenge is definitely going to be a thing to happen. That's going to be crazy. That's a good addition.
Well, what I can't wait for too, our challenges, because we got probably, yeah, I don't want to say the best. You know, we can be biased and say the best, but we definitely have one of the top broadcasts in the country, and I can't wait to put all those cameras to use for our
Yeah.
replays on game days when the referees can go to the review camera and or TV and say, let me pull up camera 8 for me, please. You know, that's pull up camera 5, which is one of the overhead cameras on one of the goal lines. You know, that stuff like that is, you know, you ain't gonna get away with a lot of stuff, you know, when you come to Wheeling. So, and we'll be sure to point it out to the refs.
Go ahead, John. You got a question for Coach?
All right, Coach. So you're heavy in the recruiting right now. What are some of the top things you look for when you're looking at a player to bring in?
Well, you know, it's interesting because this past season, everything I've done up to that point was, you know, you got to get the best player, got to get the best player, got to get the best player. You're looking for character guys too, of course, but you know, you want to win. So, you know, high character isn't like the everyone can say, oh, we're going after character guys. Yeah, you are, but you're also trying to win, right? So you got to really evaluate these guys, and you only know so much about them, right? I'm not a freaking private investigator going back to their backgrounds and doing background checks on all these dudes. You know, we do like the baseline first layer, you know, where they came from, where are they from, you know, your basic Google searches of put their name in, you know, make sure they got we're not hiring any murderers or anything like that. You know, you definitely want to check that stuff out. But also, you know, these guys are young, right? Coming out of high school, going to college, you know, coming out of college at some point, some of these guys have made a stupid choice here or there. And I'm not going to hold that against them. You know, we all deserve second chances. And sometimes guys don't get that second chance. They screw up going out of high school into college. They might post something stupid on social media, and that made them lose their scholarship, which is crazy because it does happen. And you know, if you're young kids listening to this, you know, be careful what you put on social media. But we want to. We're not. I'm not the end all say all. You know, if you screwed up, that you're never gonna have an opportunity. You know, I want to try to give guys an opportunity to help change lives, other than just giving them an opportunity to play football. So, but you do want to have good character guys, and so where we're at, it's one of those. It's a slippery slope, right? Because you want some dogs, you want some killers on the field, you want some guys that don't give a crap. You know, I enjoy it during pregame, and you know, we might have a guy here or there barking at the other team or another coach, and coach comes up to you and says, "Yo, coach, man, you need to get one. You need to get your guy. I ain't got to get nothing. He ain't doing nothing to me." You know, like that. That's you got to have some of those guys, but there is a fine line. You know, you got to make sure that you're respectable to the game itself. So this year, what we were doing this past, I say this year, but this past season, being in the league that we're in, it you know, a lot of guys didn't want to play in the league that we're in, and I get it. I told everyone up front, look, the league we're playing in isn't very good, but I promise you'll have a good time at home. That'll be good. I'm creating a great atmosphere for you guys. It's going to be fun. we have 3 road games that are going to be in places that I wish I wasn't in either, but we get through it. But we'll be good at home, and it'll be a good time, and you'll be taken care of here in Wheeling. Like we got everything in place for these players to be successful, not to worry about where they're sleeping, where they're eating, how are they going to get their bodies taken care of, recovery and all that stuff. So having all that stuff in place. But some guys they didn't want to do it. They weren't. All they saw was the AAL2, and I can't fault them for that, because it is what it is. It is a developmental league. It was. I hate that we were in it, but also at the same time, it was almost a blessing in disguise, because it allowed us to get established, focus on community, focus on like the fun stuff, because we started. We did our own mine line, our own drum line. So all these different things that we could do to fix the visual aspect from the fan watching the game, seeing that we're beating them by 40, 50 points. They're really thinking about that aspect. They're like, did you see the drum line? That was awesome. Did you see this? Did you see that? The different things like that. And you try to disguise the butt kickings, because you want the fans to come back. And they were, oh yeah, by the way, we won by 40 or 50. So that was our takeaway from their fans. We're excited about our games and enjoying it as a whole. So, but it allowed us to also maybe give some guys some chances that I may have not have gave before. We talk about Dante Mason all the time. He was playing with Steel City Stampede first game, beating 57-0. He was playing in the secondary. We really couldn't bomb on him like we wanted to, because the freaking place we were in. But we were still slinging around, the best we could. And you're not going to tear up a DB 57-0 and go after recruiting their secondary. That's just not natural. So, but looking at their film, we got some word about this Mason kid, and Coach Mott said, hey, we need to check his film out, because he's actually not terrible. Let's evaluate him a little bit more and see what we want to do. So we watched some of his film, had some other film on him, just looking at this footwork. And so when you can see the fundamentals of this kid, you're like, okay, this kid's got something. Maybe if we give him a chance and we put some good pieces around him, and he gets some good coaching, and he actually gets to play in a facility and not in a Cracker Jack box, he might be able to be something. And then, first game he plays with us, so we sign him, and the first game he plays with us, he gets 4 picks. So we're like, heck yeah, man. Now, the other team was trash, but we still got 4 picks. You know what I mean? Like, you still got 4 picks. You still got to put yourself in a position to make a play, even if the quarterback, you've got that extra variable, though it's got to be a good throw. But he still made plays, and you want a playmaker. And then he ended up having a successful season and winning Defensive Player of the Year in the league. And it was, exciting. That's a cool story. That's a cool thing to say. And I appreciate the AAL too. I appreciate AJ and his partner that doing the stuff that they do, because it allowed us to showcase what we're capable of doing as an organization. And it gave us a platform to put it out there, across the country, with our broadcast and everything that we had going on. Without the AAL2, we wouldn't have been able to do that. We could have easily jumped into the NAL or something like that. But, you see those teams that don't have it all together, trying to make stuff happen, and it just doesn't work, because the business side is not where it needs to be. The football stuff will always be easy. It's the teams that don't do good in the business side that don't last. So any team that's come and gone, if you look at, well, how many people did they have in the stands? How many tickets did they sell? What was their attendance like? What kind of sponsorships did they do? All these other stuff, and you start looking into it, and they're like, well, they didn't have very many sponsors. Well, they had maybe 500 people at the games. Well, that's why they were successful.
Right.
But you look at the teams that do very well attendance-wise, do big dollars in sponsorship, and just the advertising aspect within itself. Those are the teams that are around for 12, 15, 20 years, 25 years, like Omaha, 20 plus years, Sioux City, teams that are in our league that we're able to be a part of. Columbus Lions that are in the NAL now, I believe 18 or 19 years, something like that, somewhere around there. But it's just because they're successful on the business side. So I'm very thankful for AJ and them, the AAL2, for allowing us to showcase what we can do and what we were capable of doing, and to put people on notice to actually give us a shot and a look, and started the conversations with them, and that's really what got us rolling today. And I always knew we were going to do something better, but it's nice when everything falls into place and the plan happens accordingly.
So Ricky just chimed in and said Omaha at Wheeling week 1 going to be a great game. Is that a bombshell? Is that breaking news? Is that
I could,
100%?
Ricky is the one making the schedule, so it's we could figure something out. It'll be I know our owner won't be too happy of traveling to Omaha the first game of the season, but
No, he's saying at
still,
Wheeling. He said Omaha at Wheeling.
oh well, week 1 we can't have a home game, unfortunately. So, um, according to our lovely schedule of dates that we have at the arena. But our actual first, so the weekend, NAL opening weekend is February 28th, March 1st weekend, which I believe the 28th is a Friday, March 1st is a Saturday. So that'll be our first game. We'll definitely be on the road. It's possible we could have a bye week 1. I hope not, because I hate that. Opening weekend, you want to be playing, man. You want to be on
Right.
be out there, and but Ricky and them is going to do a great job of putting the teams in a position to be successful business wise, because that's what the main focus
He's
is.
saying
So
week 1, 3-10.
yeah,
Ricky
week 1,
saying.
3-10. So okay, so if that's when week 1 is happening, then March 10th for us was a Monday night. So we got Monday night football. That's for sure our first home game, because that is the only date available for us in March because of hockey. You got the PBR event there, in March. You got the MEC basketball tournament. So March is rocking at West Banco. So we had to, Chris didn't really want to play on Monday night, but I'm like, dude, like, we got to have a home game in March. We cannot be on the road all month of March. It doesn't work that way. We can't do that. So even from, that's hard. It's cool to know that you're going to have more home games on the back end, because you're not traveling a lot. So you got, we're making that run there at the end, because I tell you right now, we're poised to be one of the, if not the toughest place West Banco, because we're
Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Ricky throwing out good comments there. I think I know who does the schedule. Gee, I wonder, Ricky.
That would be something. I don't think Wheeling's ever done that.
Opened on a Monday? No, we've played on a Monday, but man, I think Kezra's got internet issues. We got something going on. Oh.
If the comment wouldn't get, I would say, if a comment of all comments could get Rez all fired up, that was it. Right there.
For those of you who do not know, Ricky Birch is the owner of the Omaha Beef.
If you turn your porch light off, he might be coming to your house.
Listen, we'll take it, Ricky. We understand.
Hey, it's all right. It's all right. Hey, he's back.
You got me?
Yeah, we got you.
I don't
Ricky
know what
said
the
you were
heck was
scared.
going on with that. Yeah, Ricky knows I ain't scared. He better stop that mess. He better stop that mess right now. But we were saying with the MEC tournament and all that, March is heavy, but I told Chris that definitely needed to play there. And Monday Night Football, I told Chris, no matter what we got going on, we got banner drop that night, like, it's gonna be packed. And so I think what I was saying when I dropped or whatever, but our season tickets right now are a little bit more than what we had when we started week 1, our first home game this past season. So that's awesome to know that, with the track we are, we should be at a position to be almost doubled, if not, a little bit more than that, to start. So I think should put us close to 500. I'm hoping my goal is 750 as season tickets come March 10th by that first home game, which would be pretty awesome for us. And that's paid. That's not season. That's not partners. So when you add our partner tickets, the majority of our partners are coming back. So that's about a little over 700 partner tickets. So it'll be nice to open up and knowing before the doors open, before walk-ups, that we're sitting at 1,500 fans. That would be pretty awesome. That's almost a quarter of the way of filled up, in that building. So I'm projecting us to be a little over 3,000, each home game at minimum. 3,000. Obviously, we want to be packed, but we got to have baby steps. We got to be realistic. If I'm on here telling you guys, we're going to be 5,000 and 400 and seats deep, you're going to be like, yeah, that's great enthusiasm, coach. But it's got to, we've been doing this long enough to know that you got to be realistic. And could we be 4,000 or more? Sure, we could, but we'll just have to see. I know we're going to work hard to get that place packed. I've told you and I told everyone. I've been saying it. West Banco is going to be packed for our games. It's not if, it's just a matter of when. How long is it going to take to get that place packed each home game?
Well, change up the question here, but during the season, I would tune in and watch a couple of the shows that were on like Facebook, YouTube, and you're one of the biggest shit talkers that I know. This game, dude. And so I just kind of want to know, like, leading up to the games, like what, like, how are you getting onto the other side of things, like with the other teams, like that, and then, like, what does your daily look like, leading up to the game kickoff?
Like leading up, you're talking about specifically on game day?
Yeah.
Well, I usually start. I like to get to the arena early. Usually when our workers get there and start getting, stuff, the last minute things that they're putting together for us, because our arena staff does an amazing job getting everything set up for us and in place. Scott and his crew, they do amazing for us. Our stuff wouldn't happen without those guys. And then I'll go eat some breakfast. Go grab some breakfast at one of the places I go eat. Usually breakfast at Generations or Rachel's on 16th. Usually hit that. I'll see some fans out here and there, and always try to have a couple of tickets on me to hand out, as I'm out in places if I've never seen them before. They've never been to a game, try to get them a couple tickets to come check it out. Because it's always been my philosophy. Once you go, like, you're not missing the game. Like, once you see it in person and in a part of it, you're like, man, this is amazing. Because there's football fans that come to our games that aren't really football fans. They just like arena football. So, then you got, the players. You got players making sure they're checking in on some stuff. We'll have some guys that are hitting some appointments over at Thrive Wheeling, which is getting some cryo treatment or something like that. They might get an IV here or there. Certain things like that, getting themselves ready. And then we're just making sure. I got a heck of an equipment manager. Sarge William Cordery does a heck of a job for us. So he does a lot of our planning and our setting up of stuff and making sure all the teams got what they need, and in the locker rooms, making sure the locker rooms are decked out good for the players when they arrive and got snacks and stuff for them. So it's just little odd and end things here. We got a great merchandise team. They start setting usually up about 10 a.m. or so to get that stuff knocked out. If you guys been to all of our games, you guys seen our merchandise area, it's pretty cool. That's a big thing for us, merchandise sales and whatnot. So should see a lot of Wheeling stuff walking around here, now than they did, this time last year. So that's kind of cool to see our stuff out there. And just really trying to get focused. The last year was a little bit different just because of what we were in. It's more of trying to stay motivated because you're gonna spank these dudes. So you gotta be able to keep the guys mentally focused. It's tough. When you go into the locker room and it's freaking 30-3, it's like, how are you supposed to yell at these dudes? You know what I mean? So we got to dig down and really keep them focused. And I tell them, like, you guys are here, you're not playing the NFL, so obviously you've done something wrong. So, but you feel like you should be playing the NFL, but you don't look like it. So
you start making shit up,
and it pisses some of them off, or they walk out pissed off, and then the next play, dude might get a personal foul because he just freaking ripped someone's helmet off his head because of what I just said to him in the locker room. So, that's all we're trying to do to keep them focused, to get the mind off of 30-3. So, but I don't really talk a lot of crap to the other teams and coaches. Sometimes they step in stuff. Sometimes they step in it on their own. And it's just I learned one of my best traits that I've learned from the military, being a Marine, is being tactful. So when you talk crap to your platoon sergeant and turn around and you walk off, and then he realizes, like, what the hell did that little shit just say to me? But he can't. Ain't nothing he can do about it, because it was slick, and and it was smooth, and I wasn't disrespectful, but I got my point across. So it's the same thing with some of these coaches and some of the stuff that they do. And some of the coaches, if they're not good, I'm gonna tell them. If they're not good. So it's just certain things, man. I don't deliberately just go out and say, who am I going to talk crap to today? I'm always going to defend myself. I'm going to defend my players. I'm going to defend our people. You're not going to, just get away with certain things. And if there's a problem, we're going to let you know for sure.
Yeah.
I know a couple that we've talked to a couple of players, and they've said that there's been some interesting stuff that happens or goes down in that locker room. Like, if you can pinpoint something specific that you remember from this last year, whether you're like screaming or you're whatever you're doing in there, like, what would that be?
I know one time specifically when we were on the road in Maryland. I felt like we shouldn't have started off slow. I didn't care if we're playing in a barn with no walls and getting bit by mosquitoes and stuff like that. So that's the point. That's the point. Like, we're all here together. Like, raise your hand if you feel like you should be playing in the NFL. And of course, majority raise their hand. I was like, put that shit down. Like, no, we're here. We're all here. Like, it's freaking 12 to whatever. Like, it wasn't even that big of a score at the time. And it's like you guys look like you don't even belong out there. Like, and I've said a lot more choice words on that. And, I want to make them feel like shit for a minute, because it's real life. If you want to play in the NFL, well, you don't look like you should be in the NFL. Like, legit. Like, that's not me making stuff up or being an ass. I like, turn the film on. Like, it'll show you. Like, this is why you're here. This is why you're playing in this freaking barn with nets on the roof and freaking no walls, because you ain't doing all the little things that you're supposed to do. And then they turn it on and go out there, and then we win the ball game. So it's just little things like that. I don't think, anything too crazy. We got on some guys, and I think that's what the guys really appreciate from myself and from Coach Mott and our staff as a whole, that we're not going to sugarcoat anything. Like, if you mess up, we're going to tell you. If you need to fix it, we're going to tell you. If you do a good job, we're going to pat you on the back. But we're going to tell you that you need to fix this or fix that. Some players say they want honesty, but you can't handle the truth. You can't. It's like, that's you just try to make them understand. This is what we're here for. Every team at this level is developmental. IFL is developmental, NAL is developmental, because we're trying to get these guys a platform to go on to the UFL, CFL, NFL. So technically, we're all developmental in a way, because we're developing these players to try to move on and continue their careers.
Thanks, Coach.
Muth, you got anything for Coach?
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know. I got kind of distracted because the Kool-Aid man, aka my 2-year-old Delaney, was flying down my hallway.
Hang that door off that wall.
But leading up to even beginning of last year, I mean, you probably had the opportunity to go anywhere and start making a new franchise and whatnot, or trying to get it off the ground. Mm-hmm. Why, out of everywhere, did you pick Wheeling?
Well, all right, and now you're going to make me troll a little bit. So I knew the history of Wheeling. I remembered the Greyhounds and some of their games and just that atmosphere and the fan base. I mean, you look at it at our games, there's probably some Greyhound stuff there. I didn't really notice a whole lot, but you notice it a lot in some of the Rough Riders games. You can see some of the people wearing Greyhound stuff, because the colors stand out from, the green and black. Mm-hmm. So you've seen that. So there's still Greyhound fans today, right? And so I wanted to be in a situation to where our team was kind of along those. We will never be the Greyhounds,
but I want the minors to be at that prestige known of what the Greyhounds were. And I think we can do that. And I think we're on the right track of making that happen. I think there's people that are making us their team, like the Greyhounds were, and that's cool. And the economic part of it, the cost of stuff is lower there. And just so you can kind of compare where I came from in Greensboro, playing at the Coliseum when I was with Cobras. It was like $15,000 a night plus ancillaries and everything. So you're looking at around 18,000 or so total to play a game. That's, you better have some butts in the seats if you're trying to cover that. And as you can see, the Cobras games, the attendance is low, and Coach Negron's there doing a good job of trying to get that in order and make it to where it's something that they can last, because he's putting a lot of effort into that. You look at where Orlando played, 65,000 a night. Freaking crazy, some of these teams and what they pay for some of this stuff. But it's you're looking at a place where you can be successful on the business. Kelly took care of us there in West Banco. As a fraction of what we paid in Greensboro, so I was excited about that. Just the whole aspect of it, the fan base, and to be honest, I felt the Rough Riders, were pretty successful. It was a shame with COVID coming and kind of put a hindering on things, and they didn't come back, and so I saw it as an opening that was still close to fans to know the game a little bit, to support it. But then I also thought it would be cool to follow up behind the Rough Riders after we were the last team to beat them in Richmond Coliseum before they moved to West Virginia. So we beat them.
There it is. I knew it was there somewhere.
we beat them in their last game in Richmond, and then we took over the city that they just were part of. So it's crazy how things all come full circle. But just the area itself, the Ohio Valley, is a great place to play arena football, and that's really the main reason. Just the economic part of it, and just the history of the fans and the support there in the Valley.
I got one more thing for you.
Go ahead.
What do you think of the corner in the end zone by the blue line bar?
The corner?
Yes.
You talking about the Bud Light area?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, I think that place is awesome. I think that whole section is awesome. It's a great setup for games for us, especially from everyone to be having a good time, and putting in some words there to the away team is pretty cool to see. So, I mean, it's pretty awesome. That's a good experience. It's a good atmosphere. That's what you want, at these type of games for sure.
Yeah, these guys are definitely dwellers of the corner. They've said some choice words.
Yeah, and I like the interaction too. I dap some people up, and I hear some instructions on what we should be doing. That's always going to be everywhere, and I hear everything that's said. I don't always acknowledge, but I hear it, and so no one says anything crazy. I did hear some crazy choice words when Steven was at quarterback, though. Panasup, that playoff game, I felt bad for him because there were some people really giving it to him, and somehow I got involved in that about, Coach Rez, what are you doing? Get him out. And I'm thinking, like, who the hell are you gonna put in? That's easy. It's easy to sit back there and watch the game and cussing and getting mad because so and so shouldn't be playing. And it's like, if you knew what we had on the roster, then you'd be like, "Damn, let's go, Steven, get it together." Not get them out. Get someone else in. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. So I wish, but it just didn't. And trust me, I was frustrated. I was mad. I was fired up on the inside. You might not have could tell that I was pissed off at the performance, but I felt in that moment like he's already thinking, like, if I just jump on his head now, and after he's making mistakes, I'm gonna freaking ruin this kid, and we got to win this game. We got to find a way to get through, and he did. Unfortunately for us, he definitely earned a ring. I'll tell you that. He came away with 3 broken ribs, and I mean, he got beat up in that game. So, but it's just little things like that. So, It's exciting.
So last year, it was like the first time. Like I think I saw probably one or two Rough Rider games, and then saw 3 or 4 of last year Wheeling Myers games. And with you guys going to the NAL this year, like what are some new things for those that may not know? Like what can we see new, or what are some plays that potentially you could exploit? I guess I mean without giving away secrets.
Yeah, so the biggest thing, which there was some negatives with it, and I understood it was one of those things that we just had to push through and grind through, take the criticism, keep it moving because it wasn't changing. We were still doing it. We did pull back a little bit on some of the stuff that we were doing, just so because there was a lot of fans frustrated with like a lot of the breaks, like the media timeouts, the different things like that. When we're doing the different things on the field. We're definitely going to improve on that stuff and make that a little bit more entertaining. For us, it was more of the time slots of getting our team used to. Now, when I say our team, like our game day staff team, getting used to the media timeouts, getting used to the breakage and the stoppages of the game itself. That we have to have fillers in those moments to keep the fans engaged and keep things happening because we are going to have media timeouts. There is no I control the script, tell the referees, hey, no media time out here. And next it, let's move on. I'm not gonna be able to do that in the NAL because there's obligations that we have to do on the YouTube broadcast, and because everybody across the board games are streamed on YouTube. So everybody's games are on YouTube broadcasts. And so we're required to be able to do so much for away teams on the broadcast and different things like that. So within the arena on the Jumbotron for, we got to have 2 30-second commercials sometime in the middle of the game for the away team. It's just something that we have because it's great for us to do that on the road with, Visit Wheeling. And when people are coming to our away teams, fans and family coming to the games, they can have an access of an outlet of somewhere to go to. So those commercials are huge. So one of the main things that'll be different is we will still have those stoppages, but we'll make it a little bit more entertaining for the fans, I guess you can say. So it is, yes, it might take a little bit longer. The media timeout is 2 minutes. So 2 minutes seems forever when you're just sitting there watching nothing. Right. So, but if you got something going on, we got some contests, stuff like that, it'll fly by pretty good. And then you see the old orange glove, come up that, you're ready to go, those type things, and then get the game back rolling. So it's more of just cleaning some stuff up. A lot of the same stuff that we'll do, that we did last year, or it was just be a lot more content, I guess you could say.
Coach, you guys had some really nice uniforms last year. I know the Cole uniforms were really popular. Anything special in the works for this season coming up?
Yeah, so we, as far as uniforms, we, one of the things that you guys saw with uniforms, we definitely look better than everybody. I felt that we looked organized, we looked professional. Guys wearing the same color socks, tights, those type things, because that's a requirement, in any league that we were going to go into, or the NAL or of the IFL, is uniforms, because there are uniform violations and players get fined if socks aren't pulled up all the way. If guys are wearing different colored socks, they'll get fined. If t-shirts are hanging out from their jersey, they'll get fined. So we try to establish that this past season, because I knew a lot of our players were going to come back, so I wanted them all used to some of the stuff that we were going to be encountering, to be prepared. Because when they get fined, I get fined, and I ain't paying that. It'll come out of their check. They're going to pay my fine. I'm not paying it. But if they know what's coming and they know the standard, then they'll abide by it. And we had a good group of guys, so I know they'll do a good job with that. But we did have some couple different uniform setups, I guess you could say, and the Star Wars ones, everyone really liked those. What was another one, Jeff? The coal miners, the coal
miner ones.
Yeah,
and then the National Guard ones.
Yeah, the National Guard ones are pretty cool. We'll probably do our own military one this time. National Guard's still going to be a sponsor, but I think we're going to do our own, just so we can auction them off. And because a lot of people wanted to buy those jerseys specifically, but they weren't ours to sell. So the National Guard took those. jerseys back. We are going with new uniforms this year. We're going to go with all black with our colors. A lot of people like all of our black apparel and merchandise. So we figured, why not? Let's give it let's change it up a little bit. We'll also have all white, and we'll have a yellow alternate jersey as well this year. And we'll have a couple specialty jerseys again with whatever, if we do Star Wars again or not. I'm not 100% sure yet on all the themes, but we will have a couple. We'll definitely have a Coal Rush jersey for sure, and a military jersey.
Smooth, you got
I
anything?
know. Yeah, I know a lot of fans were they were used to, like, in the previous years with the teams, they were able to football went fine into the stands, they were able to keep it, but this past year they weren't able to do that. Anything new for next year?
Absolutely. So one of the things with this league, normally the teams buy their own footballs, but the league provided these footballs for the teams this year, which was odd for me, which is different. So they only gave 40 footballs to each team. So we had to be really careful on the football taking. Had enough to last through the season, because I knew if you asked me in December when I got hired, I would have told you come July 6th we're playing in a championship game. So we had to make sure we were going to have enough footballs all the way through to make it last. So to answer your question, for this year, we're buying 450 footballs. So we will definitely have enough footballs that will go into the stands. Now, the rule on footballs going to the stands, any kicking game balls, those balls come back. That's just the way it is. That's because, as many times you kick it off and you're going for the deuce and it goes to the back of the end zone, that we're going to lose a ton of balls doing that, because we're going to score a lot. So, with that, I'll have the kicking balls will come back. But any other game ball that goes into the stands, quarterback misses a throw, player spikes and goes into the stands, or anything like that, you will be able to keep those footballs as a fan. So we'll also have some sponsor game day sponsors that will be on the footballs, and we'll have some each game that can be sold at the merchandise. So there'll be one way or another that you can get an actual game ball.
So you briefly talked about it, but how important is it to have a good broadcast? And that's not just for. I think it's cool that everything's on YouTube, especially this year. Every team is going to kind of follow the same suit. Mm-hmm. But like for individual tape, for each player, like how important is good video?
Yeah, so good broadcast is important because we're showcasing the guys, right? And when you're not there, you're able to watch some players. I was able to recruit some players just from YouTube broadcasts and watching their games, and because I don't have access to all of their game film on Huddle or VidSwap or anything like that, so we rely on a lot of the YouTube broadcasts for that stuff. But it's also cool for the families and stuff like that. When they can't make the game, they're able to tune in. A lot of our players played at some good colleges and had some following. So not only are their family watching games, but they got former fans, fans that have been following them and friends. And, it's just important to be able to get that support, for an individual player. And it's nice to be able to share that YouTube broadcast link with them, and knowing, especially for us, that we have one of the, if not top broadcasts, to share that with your people, and it looks like you're watching a game on ESPN or Fox.
Like, are other teams asking you guys, how did you do this? How did you do that?
Say that one more time.
I said, it's other teams this year, asking you guys, different, I guess, secrets for camera work or stuff like that.
Oh yeah, so that was one of the emphasis that we talked about at the league meetings. The commissioner, wanted to get JB and his crew involved with the league stuff to kind of help, maybe give some business practices, those type things. And because ultimately what the NAL wants is the consistency across the board. So websites look the same. Game day, when you're watching a YouTube broadcast, whether you're watching Idaho game, Omaha, Shreveport, Corpus Christi, Harrisburg, Carolina, or ours, that all looks the same. It doesn't. The only thing different is the voices you hear, the talent of the play-by-play or the color commentary. But the score bug looks the same. Everything is clear across the board that this is an NAL game that you're watching. So that's really the things that they wanted to touch base on, of some of the things that JB and his team did, and with Jeff and Chris and whatnot, of some of the things that they do. Because when you watch our games, it's not when you watch other games. Sometimes you might hear a little bias of the home team, and if I'm an away team watching that, like, I don't want to hear Jeff and Chris talking crap about my team. Like that's not what I'm watching for. It just ruins the experience of watching that. And you hear the guys on CBS and Fox. They're not talking crap about one team or the other. Like, it's about the game. And that's something that they're striving to try better. That picking some pieces like that of some of the stuff that we did, and kind of share that with the other teams. Mainly for the consistency, for sure.
Yeah. So, Coach, you put together good, arena teams and everything else. You a big fantasy football guy? I know we got a draft here in about a half hour. But you got any fantasy leagues going on?
Yeah, I've been in one for the last probably 4 or 5 years or so. I came in second, came in third. I bombed last year. I had a lot of injuries on my stuff, so kind of puts you in a bind. But I tried to be a little bit different this year, and I feel like something's going to work out. But yeah, it's pretty. I love fantasy football. I like it just because it helps you follow the game, and we're already watching the games, right? So why not? Be rooting for some dudes to put up some points for you.
Yeah. Ricky had one more comment, and he said, Coach Reds gets into a boxing match with the other team's head coach. Great media timeout idea.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just like semi-pro. Like, when the cameras go off, they're going to get it.
Somebody hit somebody.
I think some of our players would like that too, though. So
yeah, that would be. That'd be.
If you hadn't seen a pissed off Marine before, some of these coaches would be in trouble. I'll tell you.
Yeah. Whew. You ain't a kidding.
There are some big guys now. There are some big guys out there. So it'll be some of them twos and running around and catch me if you can. I ain't stupid. I'm not scared, but I ain't dumb either.
Mama didn't raise no dummy. Like,
no, I'm gonna get my licks in. You might beat me up, but you're gonna know that who it was you beat up. Because I am, like I said, I'm not dumb. So when it comes to a 300-pound dude, I know where I fit in. So
we get that for sure. Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on the show. You definitely missed out on the comment section this time. I know that's one of your favorite pastimes. Is looking in the comment section. What's that?
What was some of the comments?
It's just we were reading them off to you. It was mostly Ricky.
Oh, you're reading them off to me every time I got freaking bumped off?
Well, he was talking about him doing the schedule, and we talked about that.
Yeah.
And then Omaha week 1 and all that stuff. And then he did say one of your pregame rituals was talking to Joe Boo, the doll in Major League. You were having conversations with him in the locker room, he was saying.
He's a character for sure. But I will tell you, I'd known Ricky, and through the years, never really had too much dealing with them. I just because we're always in different leagues, but getting to know Ricky and really diving into some of the stuff that they do on the business side, I thought I knew a lot of stuff, but he, it's cool to be around people and still learning stuff. That's what I look forward to. That's what I enjoy about what we do. We're always learning something. We're going to implement a lot of stuff that they did, especially this off season with some certain things and, in-game stuff and, those type things. And so I'm really excited to implement some of those. And I wouldn't have learned some of that stuff if I hadn't been for Ricky. So, we're going to get after it. The cool thing, too, about all of the teams, we're all going to talk crap to each other on game days, but we're all helping each together in the off season and during the week and trying to make sure that everyone's got what they need. And because we're only as strong as our weakest team. And, we got to look out for each other and make sure everyone's good. But on game day, we're beef who? You know what I mean? Like we're going to be trying to spank everybody. It doesn't matter who they are. And I'll tell you, as a fan listening or watching, if you're paying attention, you don't want to miss the Carolina games or the Harrisburg Stampede games. I'm going to just tell you that right now. So
yep, that's going to be must-watch TV for sure.
The coaches and stuff with Harrisburg, they don't. I'm sure they despise me and whatnot, but I respect them as coaches, but that's as far as that goes. Carolina is a little bit different to me personally, just because I was there for a while. I got a lot of fans there, so that's gonna be pretty cool. They're gonna be talking junk, but they'll be cheering too by the time the game's getting wore out, and they're they know what's coming. They know what it's gonna be like. They're trying to sign some good players right now, but we're going to beat a lot of teams in the offseason with free agency and signings, and we're going to have a roster that you look at, and we should win a lot of games. The paper don't win the games, but you still got to have the team, the weapons to try to make something happen. And when you see our roster, you're like, okay, these guys are being in business.
Mm-hmm.
Get after it. Like it's really exciting to see this shape up when the season comes. We still got to execute and make it happen, but like we're going to be there at the end. We're always going to be successful, and that's one thing I told our owners. You can be on me all you want to about the football or the business stuff and about whatever we need, but no one needs to say anything about the football stuff because that's going to be on lockdown. So there might be situations where you don't understand what we're doing sometimes, but when we're hanging out after game party, celebrating a win, then you're going to know why we did what we did.
Yeah. So like we mentioned, free agency starts tonight at midnight. Keep your eyes peeled.
Baby. 3 hours, 2 hours, 58
minutes. He's got his list. He's ready. He'll be starting. Well, you're going at what, 12:01?
Yeah, because we can't look. Everyone, some guys break the rules and bend the rules a little bit. It's tough for me because I know a lot of players.
Yeah,
I have a lot of relationships with guys, so it's hard to cut that off and not be able to talk to certain people. But you have to be able to draw the line, right? Like I can have a conversation with you without telling you, "Hey, man, I'm signing you on September 1st." You know what I mean? Like if you know where we stand and that's going to be an opportunity and you're available, I'm calling you. So I ain't got to tell you that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of teams out there and coaches that don't know what they're doing. They know what they're doing and they're deliberately breaking the rules and whatnot. And it's, it just makes it just pisses you off for like the people that are trying to do it the right way and doing it the right way. It just makes it hard, but it's in place that way to protect the players and protect the teams, and it's there for a reason. And some people just don't give a crap about the rules, and it's apparent. But we'll let that crap sorted out on game days. But I'm looking forward to talking to some guys and really hammering down some details about talking to some dudes about coming on board with us with Wheeling. And we are going to be signing some guys that are on some other teams. If you guys have been following any of the signings or transactions, you've noticed that not all teams have been signing players. So it's like there's a lot of players that are going to be available come 2 hours and 57 minutes now that are going to be available. And I mean, when I tell you I already got contracts lined up, I just got to hit send. Like they're ready to be flooded in some inboxes. And making some phone calls, and the coach, we're going to be calling some guys and touching base. And, if a player called me that was on another team, I specifically told them, look, I can't talk to you about anything until September 1st. If you're available, I'll give you a call. I mean, that's as far as that extent went. That's as far as me telling them, I like to sign you. I can't say, hey, I'm going to sign you. You're going to make this. I can't tell you. I mean, I can't talk to you right now, but if you're available come September 1st, I'll be reaching out. So
yeah, I'll be getting a phone call or a text message. All right, go ahead and send this out. It's 1:00. They're good.
And there's been some guys that signed back. Like I thought I might have had a chance with one guy, and he just signed back to his team, which is fine. But that goes to, had I been able to really talk to him, then maybe he wouldn't have signed. But we got to go by the rules, and it is what it is. I didn't get a chance to talk to him because he signed back to his team, and
Right.
so that's the name of the game. I tried to put in a lot of the work that I could with our players to where, because some of our players are in the same boat, like they can sign wherever they want to come September 1st. But if you look at our roster and the 6 of the 7 that got turned in today, like majority of our guys are coming back. Like we got a really good core group of guys coming back, and still making some decisions on a couple other guys to figure out what we want to do. But after this weekend, we should be sitting at about 26 players or so out of the 35. That's a pretty good, strong off season right there so far, and we're only going in September, so we still don't play until March. We're looking our first and only probably tryout this year is going to be in January. I wanted to do a little bit later just because of let the college teams be done, and have some guys, more college guys coming out, younger guys, because we have a good group that we're going to be signing so far that a majority of them are veterans. We want some rookie guys in camp, and make some guys hungry for some stuff, and iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. We got one more question for you, Coach, and we'll get you out of here.
This will be quick, and then it's up to you if you really want to answer it. But if I can get a prediction right now with the new league, everything, what would we say this time next year? Are we champions?
I really hope so, for sure. I'm not saying like I did last year and tell you we'd be undefeated and playing in the championship game or winning the championship game. We're going to do everything we can to be in the championship game. 2 months ago when we first announced the opportunity of us being undefeated, didn't look the greatest because it was going to be tough. But I tell you, the roster we're putting together, we're going to be a tough beat. Knowing what we're in and who we're playing and some of the other teams, the goal is to be undefeated at home and 500 on the road. And we play 5 games, so we'll be 3-2 on the road at minimum. So if you look at it like that, that's freaking 8-2 in the regular season. So that's a pretty good record. For us coming from a quote unquote developmental league and into the big leagues in the NAL, that we're looking forward to that. But I would we coach to be in championship games, and I've coached in the championship game 4 out of my last 5 seasons coached. So I'm looking to make it 5 out of 6 coming up in 2025.
Can't wait.
So, Coach, I appreciate you taking the time out with us. We'll get you on again where we can troll the comment section a little bit.
We'll know our quarterback situation. We'll know a lot more players that we added on. Who the free agents are that we sign. We'll post those tomorrow. Once they get signed, contracts will be signed tonight, probably about 12:05. I will turn those into the league immediately.
Sounds like I'm staying up tonight.
What'd you say?
I said, sounds like I'm staying up tonight.
Yeah, so we're I'll get those contracts turned into the league, and then we won't be able to release any of the players or the names of who we announced until I'd say probably after lunchtime, because they know it's free agency. They know I'm sure tomorrow's going to be busy for them, and when I say them, I'm talking about the league. They'll be the ones that have to go through those contracts and make sure everything's good, and they check everything, make sure the paperwork's good, and then they pretty much clear you that you're not supposed to announce your player signings until after they clear through the transactions, which that's the way it's supposed to be. So
Yes.
Some teams have some problems and issues with that they don't understand. Sometimes they don't think the rules apply to them, but they'll find out quickly that they do.
Yeah, especially when you got a coach coming back that knows what he's doing. But,
For sure.
But I digress. But guys, this is
we're it'll be busy. So we should be announcing probably 4 or 5 guys tomorrow. So if all goes well, they still got to sign. I'm
right.
hoping. I got a pretty good feeling on majority of them. There's 1 or 2 that I'm still up in the air. I don't know what they're going to do. So, but they hadn't signed yet with anywhere with their team, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, you can get a little sweet talking in before they make a decision. But I appreciate you, Coach. Thanks for stopping by. Like I said, we'll get you again Guys, this has been a great episode. We've had a lot of fun. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out in the comments. That's Coach Rez. We're the boys. We'll see you next time.